Some of the freshman Democrats in the House of Representatives have decided to concentrate on an aspect of their jobs that many members of Congress frequently ignore, asking sharp questions in hearings. Here is freshman Congresswoman Katie Porter questioning Mark Zuckerberg yesterday about how he runs Facebook.
You've got about 15,000 contractors watching murders, stabbings, suicides, other gruesome, disgusting videos for content moderation, correct?
Congresswoman, yes, I believe that that's correct.
You pay many of those workers under $30,000 a year, and you've cut them off from mental health care when they leave the company, even if they have PTSD because of their work for your company.
Then came freshman Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pressing Mark Zuckerberg on why he refuses to fact-check political advertising on Facebook.
You announced recently that the official policy of Facebook now allows politicians to pay to spread disinformation in 2020 elections and in the future. So I just want to know how far I can push this in the next year. Under your policy, using census data as well, could I pay to target predominantly Black zip codes and advertise them the incorrect election date?
No, Congresswoman, you couldn't. We have, even for these policies around the newsworthiness of content that politicians say and the general principle that I believe that. But
you said you're not going to fact check my ads.
We have, if anyone, including a politician, is saying things that can cause, that is calling for violence or could risk imminent physical harm or voter or census suppression when we roll out the census suppression policy, we will take that content down.
So you will, there is some threshold where you will fact check political advertisements. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, Congresswoman, yes, for specific things like that, where there's imminent risk of harm.
Could I run ads targeting Republicans in primaries saying that they voted for the Green New Deal?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Would I be able to run advertisements on Facebook targeting Republicans in primaries saying that they voted for the Green New Deal? I mean, if you're not fact-checking political advertisements, I'm just trying to understand the bounds here. What's fair game?
Congresswoman, I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. I think
so. You don't know if I'll be able to do that.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is back with us. And Congresswoman, what I was fascinated by was, I think the simplest question you asked him was the one that he needed you to repeat. And, and one of the things I'm wondering is, does he even understand that all Republicans oppose the Green New Deal and therefore your ad would be a lie? It's not clear to me that he actually understood that underlying element of your question.
Yeah, and the key is that if he didn't understand that, he should have asked and clarified. But instead, he just immediately went for the probably, yeah. And when you pair that with the fact that Facebook has officially made its policy that it will not fact check paid political advertisement, that they will take money in order to publish and spread disinformation, is extraordinarily concerning. And by the way, this is also why I asked, in addition to this line of questioning, about what Mark Zuckerberg knew about Cambridge Analytica, when and what did he do about it. This is extremely concerning because we're not just talking about rehashing the 2016 election and the disinformation campaign. We're talking about whether Facebook is going to play a role in affirmatively allowing the disinformation campaigns into the 2020 U.S. election. And if that is the case, we need to take action. I believe we need to take preemptive action, and we need to take action right now.
And when you were closing in on him on Cambridge Analytica, there were reporters who cover Mark Zuckerberg very closely, have been for years, who were kind of tweeting on the edge of their seats that they've never been able to get these questions in front of him. But he did just kind of slither away from those questions.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, what we've decided to do after he answered in very frankly strange and bizarre ways to those questions is that we are actually going to send follow-up questions, append them to the record of the hearing, and send them to Facebook for an official answer to these questions. We need to get it on the record. We need to know whether Mark Zuckerberg knew. We need to know who in Facebook's leadership knew about Cambridge Analytica. And we need to know if they decided to do nothing while the 2016 elections were being manipulated, and if they are deciding to do nothing again. Because if that's the case, they are not the innocent bystanders that they like to say that they are. They may be active participants. We don't know. And so for that, we have to get to the bottom of this. We need to understand what role they are deciding to play, especially given the light of the fact that they are going to take money to publish disinformation ads from political campaigns. Broadcasters are held to a much higher standard. While they cannot discriminate on what kind of advertisements they run, there is a base level of fact-checking that must go on. And so for this, in order for him to go far below that standard, raises very serious questions about the integrity of the information that people are receiving.
I mean, there is a simple solution for Facebook, and that is simply to take no paid political advertising. Does Facebook make enough money to survive if they don't have that income?
I think that's an excellent question. Full disclosure, I am a candidate that runs Facebook ads, but even given that, that was a very common question. Some folks have noted that the night before my hearing, I took to Twitter, ironically enough, and I asked the public, what would you want to know from Mark Zuckerberg? And one of the most common questions that I got from people here in the United States and around the world is, why don't you just ban political ads if you're not even going to put in the resources to fact check them? And I think it's a very legitimate question. If Facebook doesn't want to put in the very basic investments of fact-checking on a very essential level, then why should they take the money to run these ads at all? They didn't always run them, and I think it's a natural question of, should you run them if you're not going to fact-check them?
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.